big deal to you. Just for that reason. Because it may be something that you think is so incredibly silly because they didn't get their trash taken out. But to them it was a big deal, so you need to make it a big deal.
Okay. Communications was across the board. It was in the literature. We talked about it quite a bit here. It fell under social. Communication is about 2 or more people, so that made perfect sense. Respect is one that came out in the literature from a social engagement. It's not something that was mentioned here directly, but it was indirectly, and it's the very next one down with the what I call 360 team environment or the culture, because there's a lot of respect across the board for the activities that need to be done and the people who are doing it. That was my takeaway.
Should have been here this week.
And so, and I put it down into 4 different areas, and that's the camaraderie, because I asked you about camaraderie with peers, between departments, and then with leadership. And there was we all get along. We all was a constant theme across there. When asking about support, not only do you have support from within, but if there's something that's going on in another department, there's always an interaction between departments. And that really had a positive impact. It was one of those areas where people kind of livened up a little bit in talking about what they were talking about. And the encouragement and motivation. Motivation was one that was in the literature very specifically, and motivation comes from peers, it comes from the supervisors, it comes from the residents. And so that was something that was good to see and hear. Is that a good indicator for engagement?
Respect is a great indicator for engagement. If you don't have respect for each other and they don't respect, you're not going to be engaged in what you're doing. You got to have some sort of respect for each other.
Okay. What about support and getting support from your team members, other departments? A supervisor from another department that maybe sees something, getting that support, does that have an impact on?
I feel very supported by Erin and Maria and Kim and Amber. So if I have something that in any of their departments that I need, then all I have to do is ask. And sometimes
you can look at the situation we're in right now. I mean,
sometimes
everybody's supporting each other.
Read your mind.
She's getting really fluent at Tabitha.
I am.
She speaks fluent Tabitha.
I try.
Body language communicates a lot, doesn't it? And you're looking at me like, we won't go there.
No. Just ask her. She answers for me.
Did you say body language?
Yes.
I don't see body language right now, so I'm kind of curious what's going on in that room.
She just gave me that.
He could guess.
The combination of the deer in the headlights, like, why are you even saying that look, to, you don't really want me to say what's on my mind.
You've seen that look, Erin.
Okay, so before we move into some of the specifics that came out of interviews, anything on social engagement?
I don't think so.
So some of the things that came out very specifically with supervisors is that they're here to set the example, and they do. They're jumping in, they're there to help, they get actively involved, they're sharing information, and they provide recognition. Those are things that when we look at all the different engagement surveys that come out, but they didn't have anything that was real specific. Maybe one did, but the others didn't, so it wasn't a theme. But it was a theme that came out of the interviews. And you had mentioned earlier about recognition, and it's constantly being done from the supervisory level.
So you have no feedback from me on how I could do that better?
Keep in mind what my study's about. It's about workplace engagement, not Thornton Place. So my official answer is no.
I don't think the issue